All right, good morning. We've got, oh, it is right at time. All right. So good morning. Welcome to Build, Balance, and Flow. My name is Nikki. Today we are going to work a little bit on planks. So we've got some planks added to our flow. We're going to do a few planks towards the end as well, some different things in plank. Everyone loves plank, right? About as much as you love squats and chair. So we will get started today in a nice child's pose. And happy Friday. And if my sister's watching, happy birthday to you, Tiffany. And we'll get started with big toes touching. Knees can be close or you can take them nice and wide. It's whatever feels good for you here. Hips sink back. Fingers can reach forward or you can bend your elbows. Put one hand on top of the other for your forehead, or you can always take a block right here for your forehead as well. We're just going to take 3 rounds of breath right here in child's pose. Big inhale, fill the lungs, fill the belly, let the lower back expand. Big exhale, let everything out. You're going to take 3 more rounds of breath here. Big inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Breathe it in. Fill your lungs all the way down to the very bottom. And let it all out. Good. Staying in your child's pose. You're going to walk your hands over to the right side. Push into your left hip. Reach with your fingers. So maybe even take that left hand, put it over your right for a deeper stretch here. And just really imagine lengthening everything out from the tip of your finger all the way down through your hip bone, creating space all along the left side of the body. So imagine space in the hip joint, up through the side of the core, between your ribs and your armpit, up through the arm, all the way to the tip of your pinky. On your next inhale, find your way back to center, back to that child's pose. And then exhale, walk it over to the left side, stretching out the right side of the body this time. Just really creating as much space as you can. Imagine everything lengthening out. We have a little kitty visit. And on your next inhale, bring yourself back into that child's pose. Come up into tabletop, bringing your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Spine comes nice and long. Press down into the tops of your feet. On your next inhale, belly drops, head and hips rise for cow. Exhale, press down into the earth. Arch your back up to the sky. Continue here with your breath at your own pace. Take any extra moves. If you like to sit your hips back, if you like to sway them side to side. We're going to do about 3 more breaths here, and this is a really great little flow if you're having some back, especially lower back pain. This one always feels good to me when I've been sitting for a while. Loosens everything up. And sometimes I like to imagine leading with my tailbone. So on my inhale, my tailbone comes up, my belly drops, my chest and my head lift. And as I exhale, I curl my tailbone, my back arches up, and my head and chin fall. 1 more round of breath here. And then find your way into that nice tabletop position. Press down into your left hand and sweep your right fingers up and out. Then slide that arm underneath, threading the needle, coming down to maybe your shoulder. You can reach the left hand forward, wrap it around your back, or anything else that feels good here. Take a few breaths here. Just getting everything loose and moving. One more breath. Bring that left hand under your shoulder. Press yourself up. Sweep the right hand up and out again. Settle back into your tabletop and root down into the right hand. Left finger sweep up and out. Slide that arm underneath. Thread the needle on this side. And find that nice, good position. And it might be different than the other side. That's okay. Hopefully you all had a good night's sleep. If you are having problems sleeping, give myself a little plug here. On the Facebook page yesterday, I went live and I gave some more natural tips for helping you get a good night's sleep, a good restful sleep. And on Wednesdays, starting next week, I'll have a live wellness Wednesday tip each week for you guys. So if there's anything you're interested in learning about, shoot me a message and I'll talk about it. Let's come on back up into tabletop. Sweep the left fingers up and out. Come back into that tabletop position. So you're going to root down into your right hand and your left foot and knee, and then reach out the left arm and right leg. Come back into tabletop and then switch. Inhale to lengthen and feel free to let that foot float down to the ground for some support. Exhale back into tabletop. We're going to do a couple more each side, just really lengthening everything out, preparing us a bit for those planks. And then inhale to lengthen, back into tabletop. And let's go one more time each side. Inhale, lengthen everything out. Exhale to tabletop. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to tabletop. Sit your hips back into child's pose for an inhale. Exhale, come back into your tabletop position. Tuck your toes, press your hips up and back. Come into that nice down dog and take a few breaths here. If you want to pedal it out, move the hips side to side, anything you like here. Let your head and your neck relax. Imagine your shoulder blades sliding up your back. Knees can be soft here. And your heels are going to reach for the mat, but they don't have to touch. Just reaching for it. Take one more round of breath wherever you are at in your down dog. And then you're going to, excuse me, shift your weight forward into your plank. And we're going to pause here. So you can be on your toes. You can lower your knees. It's whatever feels good for you here. We've got 4 full breaths in plank. Yay, starting out strong. So wrists are under the shoulders. If your knees are lifted, imagine lifting up through the back of the knees as well. Really engaging the entire leg. If knees are lowered, they're back farther than your hips. So hips don't come over the knees. They're forward, so you have that nice line from tailbone, crown of the head, a nice little diagonal, just like in plank on the toes. And we're going to hold one more breath. If your knees are lifted, go ahead and lower them. Toes come together and sit back to child's pose. And that's going to be our flow for right now. So you're going to rise up into tabletop. Tuck your toes, press up and back to down dog. Shift forward into your plank. Lower your knees if they're not there already, and press back to child's pose. Good. Rise up into tabletop. Tuck the toes, press up and back, down dog. Shift into your plank. Lower your knees if they're lifted. Press back, child's pose. We're going to go 2 more times here. Up to tabletop, to down dog. Shift it into your plank. Lower your knees. Press back to child's pose. One more time, bring it up into tabletop. Tuck your toes, press up and back, down dog. Shift it into plank. Lower the knees. Press back to child's pose. And let's take a full breath here. If you're noticing that you're having some pain or some tenderness in your wrist, imagine rooting down into your knuckles instead of your fingers or the palm of your hand, making almost a cupping motion, trying to lift the heel of your hand a little bit to take pressure off your wrist. Come on up into your tabletop. Tuck your toes, press up and back, down dog. And this time you're going to glance forward and step your feet a little bit wider than your hips, up towards your hands. Let your upper body relax and hang down. Maybe grab elbows if you'd like. Take your chest closer to your thighs, and we're going to take 2 breaths here. Imagine your head is super heavy. It's pulling down on your neck. It's creating space. It's lengthening everything out. Decompressing. I always like to imagine it's making me a tiny bit taller. And then on your next inhale, release your elbows if you have them. Root down into the soles of your feet and slowly roll up. Stack the vertebrae one on top of each other. Head comes up last. Heel toe the feet underneath the hips and shrug the shoulders back a few times. Open everything up here. We're going to add a little bit different movement. So inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands come to your heart. Shrug the shoulders back. Pull in these lower abs to bring your tailbone in line with your spine. Relax your jaw. Take a breath in and reach up. Exhale, soften your knees and fold forward. Halfway lift. Find a nice long spine. Fingers can come to your blocks, to the ground, to your shins or your thighs. And fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Halfway lift, nice long spine. And fold. And you're going to go 1 more time here. A nice half lift. Lengthen everything out. And fold. Root down through the feet. Rise up. Reach for the sky. Take a little back bend if you'd like here. And bring your hands down to your heart. Inhale to reach up. Soften your knees to fold forward. Nice half lift. Flat back, lengthening through the spine. And fold. Plant your hands, step back to that plank, toes or knees. And press back into your down dog. Good. Bring it back into plank again. Hug the elbows, lower down to your belly. Shrug the shoulders back. Press into the tops of your thighs and your feet to lift your heart for Cobra. Press, lower down, tuck your toes, press back to down dog. And then lengthen out the right leg so it doesn't have to come high, but you want your hips and your toes facing down. Bring your knee into your chest. Curl your back up like a cat. Step that foot forward. Rise up into a nice lunge. So your knee is in line with your toe. Pull back a little on that right hip. Relax your shoulders. Pull in those lower abs just a little bit to bring the tailbone in line. Fingers stay nice and energized. Keeping the spine long, lengthen everything out. And then sweep the fingers down and back. Pause here. So you want to keep the spine long this time. We're not going to lace fingers and come forward. You're just going to keep reaching, lengthening through the crown of the head, lifting through the back of that left knee, reaching the fingers out. Root down into the right foot to rise back up. We're going to do that again this time though. If you'd like, you can float that left leg as you hinge forward coming into Warrior 3. So sweep the fingers down and back, maybe shift your weight into the right leg. Float that left. Let that foot come down. If it's lifted, rise back up into your lunge. Let's try that one more time. Shift your weight. Sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe try to float that left leg. And come on back down. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands to frame your foot. Step back to your plank. Hug your elbows in and lower down. Shrug your shoulders back. Lift your heart. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Press into the thighs and the tops of the feet. Then find your way back to down dog. And let's do that left side. So left leg lifts. I think I'm confusing you guys with these legs. Hip bones and butt faces to the ground. Bring your knee into your chest. Curl your chest in like a cat. Step your foot forward. Rise up into your lunge and find that lunge on this side. So those of you that are new to me, my left and my right always confuse me. So if we did right and I say left, or we did left and I say right, or I'm doing the opposite leg, just do the leg we haven't done. Pull back on that left hip. Relax your shoulders. Pull that tailbone down under. Fingers are energized. Lengthen up through the spine. Sweep the fingers down and back. Find that long spine. Keep reaching. Take a couple breaths here. So even if your balance is not happening today, if you're home, you're alone, you want to try that warrior three, go for it. Maybe you have your blocks there so you have a little extra support. Give it a try and see how you do. Root down into that left foot to rise back up. Good. Sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe shift your weight into that left leg and float the right behind you. Let that foot fall down if it's lifted, or float down. Rise back up. Good. Let's try that again. Shift your weight. Sweep the fingers down and back. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Flex the foot. Push through your heel. And come back into that lunge. Woo, maybe wobble a little bit there. And let's go one more time. Sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe float that leg, maybe not. And come back into your lunge. Exhale to frame your foot with your hands. Step back to your plank and take that flow here. Hugging the elbows in, lengthening through the crown of the head, and then pressing back to down dog. On your next exhale, step or hop your feet forward. Halfway lift to that long spine. Fold it forward. Root down through your feet to rise all the way up. We're going to add a little bit more to our flow here. Exhale, hands to heart. Reach up for the sky. And soften your knees to fold. Lift halfway, nice long spine. And fold. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Toes or knees. So you're going to come down to your elbows. And then come back up to your hands, bringing them right under your shoulders. And press back to down dog. Let's try that again. Bring it forward into plank. Bring it to your elbows. Back up to your hands. And press back to down dog. Good. Right leg lifts to the sky. Knee comes into your nose. Curl your back like a cat. Step that foot forward. Rise up. One time, you're either going to just sweep the fingers down and back, or you're going to float that back leg for warrior three. Come back into your lunge. Good. Open up warrior two. Ooh, good. So take a moment here to find the shape. We haven't been here yet today. Knees in line with your toe. Maybe pull back on that back hip. Root down to the outer edge of the left foot. All 10 fingers are nice and strong. So imagine you're reaching all the way to whatever's in front of you, maybe a wall, and whatever's behind you. Maybe it's beautiful out where you're at and you decided to take your practice outside today. It's a little bit chilly for me. Hopefully next week I'll be outside with you guys. And you're going to inhale, reach up for the sky, lengthen that right leg. Bring your hands to your heart and bend the right knee. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lengthen up. As you exhale and bend that right knee, press into the outer edge of the left foot, lengthening out that leg. Inhale to reach up. Bring hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Open up into warrior two. Press into the outer edge of that left foot. Pause here for your inhale. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your right foot. Step back to your plank. Lower down to your elbows. Come back up to your hands. Hug your elbows in, lower to your belly. Shrug the shoulders back, lift your heart, lengthen through the crown of the head, and press back to down dog. Let's check that left side. Left leg lifts, toes and hips face down. Bring your knee into your chest, curl your back. Step that foot forward, rise up into your lunge. Good, so one time, that warrior three, or just sweep them fingers down and back. I like to call this bird pose. You look like you're about to take flight. Let that foot float down if it's lifted. Open up into your warrior two. Root down into the outer edge of that right foot. Maybe pull back on that hip, shoulder shrug back. Knees in line with your toe. And you're reaching, shoulder shrug back. Inhale to reach up for the sky. Lengthen everything out. Exhale, open up, or hands to heart. Press into the outer edge of that right foot. Reach up for the sky. Open up, warrior two. Good, let's do that a couple more times. Reach up, hands to heart. Root down into both feet, especially the outer edge of that right foot. And reach up. Warrior two. Maybe take it a tiny bit deeper. One more time, reach it high. Hands come down to your heart. And reach it up. Open up, warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down, or take an inhale. Then cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot. Step back to your plank, toes or knees. Come back to elbows. Back up to hands. Hug the elbows in to lower. Shoulders shrug back, lift your heart. Press back to down dog. Next, exhale, step or hop your feet forward. Halfway lift to that flat back. And fold. Inhale to rise all the way up. Reach up for the sky. Hands come down to heart. Good, so make sure you have your block handy. We're going to add another balance. So you want to have that block nice and close. And inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, hinge forward, knees soften. Halfway lift, nice flat back here. And fold. Plant your hands, step back to your plank. Toes or knees. Lower to your elbows. Come back up to your hands. Hug the elbows into lower. Lift your heart for Cobra, pressing into your thighs and the tops of your feet. Press back to down dog, and you can always take that out and just meet us in down dog from plank. Right leg lifts to the sky. Knee comes into your nose, curl your back like a cat, step that foot forward. Rise up into your lunge. Good, sweep the fingers down and back, maybe float that back leg for warrior three. Find your way back into your lunge and open up warrior two. Grab your block with your right hand. So still pressing into the outer edge of that foot. Knee in line with your toe, arms strong. You're going to reach forward with that right hand. Shift your weight into your right leg. We're going to come into balancing half moon. So shift your weight into that right leg. Float your left leg. Bring your block underneath your shoulder. You want to stack your shoulders, stack your hips. So it's very easy for that top hip and that shoulder to come forward to help you balance. But you want to stack them in a nice line. Flexing the left foot, lengthening with the crown of the head. And then you're going to let that left foot float back down. Coming into your warrior two. Set your block down, sweep your fingers up and back to lengthen out the side of the body. Cartwheel your hands down to frame your foot. We're going to mix it up here a little bit here. Come into your plank, shift your weight into your right hand and outer right foot. Side plank. Come back into your regular plank. Hug the elbows into lower. Shrug your shoulders back. Lift your heart. Press into the tops of your feet and your thighs. Press back to down dog. Good. Left leg lifts to the sky. Toes and hips down. Bring your knee to your chest. Curl your back in. Come into that cat. Rise up into your lunge. One time. You're going to sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe float that back leg. And then come on back to your lunge. Open up into that warrior two. Making sure your block is handy here. Take it into your left hand. Shift your weight into that left leg. Float the right. Bring your left hand under your shoulder. Shoulders are stacked. Hips are stacked. Foot is flexed, lengthening through the spine, the feet and the hands, and then let that left foot come back down, or right foot. And feel free to just stay in your warrior two if that's where you need to be today. Reach your fingers up and back to dance your warrior, and then cartwheel your hands down to frame your foot. Step back to your plank. Shift your weight into the left hand, outside of the left foot for your side plank, and come back into regular plank. Hug your elbows into lower, lifting your heart, pressing back to down dog. Woo, next exhale, step or hop forward. Halfway lift, nice long spine here. And fold. Rise all the way up. Hands come down to your heart. We're going to go through one more time each side. The balances are optional, but especially if you're home alone, why not give them a try? See how you do. Let's take a big breath in and reach for the sky. Exhale, hinge forward, soften the knees. Feel free to take the pace a little slower if that's where you need to be today as well. Inhale, half lift. And lower. Plant your hands, step back to your plank. Lower down to your elbows. Come on back up to your hands. Hug the elbows into lower. Lift your heart for Cobra. Press back to down dog. Right leg lifts to the sky. Bring your knee into your nose, curl your back. Step that foot forward and rise up. Sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe float that back leg. Ooh, take it back to your lunge. Open up into that warrior two, grabbing your block. Shift your weight into the right leg. Float the left. Maybe you wobble and fall like me right there. Let your block come under your hand, under your shoulder, balancing half moon. Come back into that warrior two. Set the block down. Sweep the right fingers up and back to dance. And cartwheel your hands down to frame your foot. Shift your weight into the right hand outside the right foot for that side plank. Come back into plank. Take that flow, or feel free to press back to down dog. Left leg lifts to the sky. Knee to nose, curling your back. Come into that lunge. Wrong foot there. Good. Take it to, sweep the fingers down and back. Maybe take it to that warrior three. Come back into your lunge. Open up warrior two. Grabbing your block. Shift your weight into the left leg. Left hand and block come under your shoulder, balancing half moon, much better on this side. And then come back into your warrior two. Left fingers come up and back to dance. Cartwheel your hands down to frame your foot. Step back to plank. Shift your weight into the left hand outside the left foot. Side plank. Come back to your regular plank. Hug the elbows into lower. Lift your heart. Press back to down dog. Next, inhale. Look to the top of your mat. Exhale, step or hop forward. Halfway lift to that long spine. And fold. Rise up. Exhale, hands to heart. Fantastic, guys. We're going to do a couple balancing, and then we're going to do a little bit of plank work. I know you guys are super excited, like you didn't do enough planks already. Grab a drink if you need it. And our balancing poses, chair pose. Yay! I know we all love chair pose. I actually really enjoy this pose. And they say the poses that you don't like to do are the ones that you need to do. So if you don't like chair, you need to do it. Take your feet. We're going to start with our feet in nice and close. So big toes can be touching or almost touching. Shoulders shrug back. We're going to start with regular chair. We're going to do 3 chairs today, just 3. Shift your weight into your heels. Keep the spine long, tailbone in line with the spine. Start with your hands at your heart and sit your hips back. So you can have it right here. You can take it lower, being aware that this tailbone might tilt up. So you want to pull those lower abs in. Bring that tailbone in line with the spine. Palms can stay at your heart. They can reach forward or bicep to ear. We're going to be here 3 breaths. So sometimes when you bring your arms up here, which is where you see a lot of people in chair, your shoulders come up to your ears. They kind of crunch up. The tailbone tilts back. So if this is not comfortable for you, you always have that option to bring your arms more forward. It's very uncomfortable on my shoulders, so I like to keep my arms forward or hands to my heart. And on your next exhale, fold forward and roll it up. Good. So our next chair is going to be balancing chair. We're going to come to the balls of our feet. So this time you're going to take your feet about hip distance, a little bit wider. Hands to your heart or bring them out forward. Shift your weight all the way into the balls of your feet. Lift your heels as high as you can. And keeping that spine nice and long, start to sit the hips back, bending the knees. And again, you might not come very far, and that's okay. So your feet might wobble, your legs might wobble, that is okay. Just imagine maybe pushing in a little bit further into the ball of your foot. Really holding on to this core, lengthening up, but still breathing nice and deep into your lungs. You're going to take 1 more breath here. Big inhale. Big exhale. Good. And then you're going to rise up, lower your heels, hands to your heart. Yay! So our last chair is again a balancing chair, but we're going to shift our weight. So you're going to start with feet about hip distance like we did on our toes. Come into that chair, hands to heart. You're going to shift all your weight into the right leg. So all 4 corners of that right leg, try to have as little movement as possible. And then lift that left knee. Maybe straighten that leg out and take a breath. Bring that left foot down, shift your weight into that left leg, little movement as possible. Float the right knee, maybe straighten that leg out. Take 1 breath here. Set that foot down and rise it up. Great job. Take a breath in and open it up. Ooh, I can't wait to see everyone's faces in classes. These virtual classes are great because people who I maybe have never seen or met before can take my class, and that's awesome. I love it. But I honestly can't wait to do face-to-face. See everyone's face, feel their energy in class. I miss people so much. So we're going to do a little bit of plank work before we cool it down and stretch it out. And this is your class, so please feel free to take a little rest when you need it. Take modifications, lower the knees. Take a shavasana, take a child's pose, whatever your body's needing. We've done a lot of planks, and those can be really difficult because it's a nice full body workout. So take a rest if you need that here. We're going to come into our plank on your hands. So shoulders over wrists, and you're going to be on your toes or your knees. Either one's an option. And we're going to do a little tap out. So you're going to take that leg, tap it out, and then tap your heel, tap it out, then tap your heel. If you're on your knees, same thing. Tap it out, tap your heel, tap it out, tap your heel. So we're going to do the right foot and then the left. So I'll turn it this way so you guys can see. So toes or knees, right foot is going to tap out, then tap your left heel. Tap out, tap your left heel. Nice deep breaths. Imagine lengthening through the spine. We've got 4 more here. That is it. That back heel. Last 3 here. Keeping your core engaged, lengthening through the spine. Let's do 1 more on this side. Come back into that plank. Lower your knees if they're lifted. Take a child's pose for a breath. Come back up into your choice of plank. Toes or knees. Left side. Tap that foot out. Then tap your heel. Tap it out. Then tap that heel. If you're here and your knees are lifted and you're starting to feel a little exhaustion, come on down to your knees. Good, we're almost there. Let's do 2 more here. Bring that foot down. Knees come down. Press back to child's pose and take a breath. Good, rise up into a nice kneeling position. Swing your legs around in front of you. Take a couple breaths here. Grab a drink if you need it. Feet are nice and flexed. Take a big breath in. And gently fold forward. Soften your knees for less intensity here. Keep lengthening through the spine. Take a couple breaths. Guys, if you're not doing anything at 2:30 today, I'm teaching for Yoga Buzz for Earth Day. So it's a 30-minute class. It is on their website and I believe their Facebook page as well. And maybe their YouTube as well. I probably should get that information first. But it's at 2:30 to 3. It's going to be a nice, easy flow, and we will be having lion's breath in that class since that's their yoga challenge pose today. Let's come on up. You're going to take your left foot, cross it over your right. If this is not comfortable, you can bring that foot to the inside of your right thigh as well. And you're going to wrap your right arm around your knee. Sweep your left fingers up and back. And your fingers can come to the ground, or maybe they come to a block behind you. And you want to lengthen up through the spine and then twist. Maybe your gaze goes over your left shoulder, maybe it doesn't, but we're going to take 3 rounds of breath. Each inhale, you're going to lengthen up through the spine. Each exhale, you're going to twist a little deeper. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. And 1 more breath here. Lengthen up towards the sky. Twist a little bit deeper. Good, go ahead and set that foot down and switch sides. So right leg comes to the inside of your thigh or crosses over. Left arm wraps around your right leg. Sweep that right arm up and back. Find a long spine. You're going to lengthen with each inhale, twist a little deeper with each exhale. Couple breaths here. I'm going to have to start getting out my barrettes, guys. I was planning on growing my hair out anyway, which worked out well, but this quarantine with no trim in the back is starting to get on my nerves a little bit here. I'm not at that point where I would ever cut my hair though, so fingers crossed I get my hair cut pretty soon before it really gets on my nerves. And let's come on back to center. Good, unwrap those legs. Bring the bottoms of your feet together and find your sit bones here. So you can have just the outer edge of your feet touching. It doesn't have to be the full soles of your feet. Lengthen up through your spine and then gently fold forward. Let your neck and your jaw relax and take 3 breaths here. So I was talking to my friend the other day and I said, it is a good thing I was planning to grow out my hair anyway, because I think if I still had a little pixie cut, it would be looking really rough right now. Pixies take a lot of maintenance, or they start to look real shaggy, a little mullety. And let's rise on up. Good. You're going to bring your knees up towards the sky, feet are flat. Take your hands back behind you, fingers face towards your toes or your feet. Lean back, take your right leg, put your ankle in front of your thigh, come into a figure four, flex that foot. So this might be where you're at, and this is fine. If you need a deeper stretch, bring your heel in closer, bring your hips towards your heels, as close as you can, and take a couple breaths. Make sure your spine is long here, foot stays flexed, opening up the knee and the hip. And let's take 2 more breaths here. We've got 1 more breath. Walk those hands back and lean back and switch sides. Lengthen out that right leg, set it down. Left foot comes in front and bring yourself forward. And you may notice one side feels different than the other. Maybe you get a little bit closer to your leg on one side. That's pretty normal. We usually have one side that's more dominant, one side that's more flexible. It can vary from day to day depending on what you've been doing. And let's go ahead and bend those hands, bend those elbows, walk the hands back, put your foot down, and then find your way down to your back, making sure you have a block by your side or a cushion or rolled up blanket. You're going to take your right knee, bring it in towards your chest, give it a little hug, and then wrap it over your left leg. Arms come out to the side nice and wide. Watching where your block is, let your legs fall over to the left side. So feel free to take a block underneath your legs for some support, or if this is not a comfortable twist for you, find a more comfortable position that works for you. We're going to take 2 full rounds of breath here. One more round of breath. Inhale back up to center. Unwrap that right leg and bring your left leg into your chest for a little hug. And then wrap it over the right leg. Arms come wide again and let your legs float over to the right side. And again, find the most comfortable position for you here. You need to unwrap your legs or put a block underneath them. We're just going to take about 1 more breath here. Let's take 1 more while we're here. Come on back up to center. Bring both knees towards your chest, keeping your lower back on the ground. Give them a little hug. And let your feet come back to the ground with knees bent. Lift your hips, slide your block underneath your lower back, or your cushion, or your rolled up blanket, whatever you like here. Lift your shoulders, shrug them back. Settle in, and you can stay here for supported bridge. Legs can come up for waterfall, or my favorite, legs long. Hips, knees, and toes open up. If you really enjoy shoulder stand or plow pose, feel free to take that now. We're going to take 4 rounds of breath. And just really think about how whatever your prop under your hips is feeling like here. So with a block, I feel a little bit of pressure on my low back. And it's just releasing the tension and the tightness a little bit more. This is also a really great pose for, again, if you're having low back pain. I've heard a lot of people with everything going on, stress, tension, being in different positions if you're working from home or if you're not working, maybe you're not moving as much as you usually do, having some lower back tension and pain. So the cat-cow, threading the needle, twists, and this block under your hips are all really great ways to try and help with that tension. We're going to take one more round of breath here. Bend both knees. Plant your feet if they're not already there. Lift your hips, slide that block out and set it to the side. Find your way into your final resting pose. That might be legs long, arms by your side, and a more traditional Shavasana. Maybe you like bound ankle or butterfly. Maybe some props under your legs. Maybe you really like that block under your lower back and you want to keep it there, and that's fine, or have a seat. Wherever you want to be for that final rest, that final pose, that relaxation. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. We're going to take 3 rounds of breath. For each inhale, I want you to squeeze everything as tight as you can. And each exhale, let everything go. 2 more breaths like that. And friends, I know there's a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things going on running through your head. So please take advantage of free yoga classes, fitness classes, meditation. A lot of them, are offered for free so that it's accessible to everyone. If you can make a donation, please do. There's so much good stuff out there to help everyone through these difficult times. And one of my favorite quotes that I'll leave you guys with for your Shavasana, your final rest, is that even after you roll up the mat, the yoga continues. So when times are getting tough, when you're having a bad day or something happens or just so much going on, just take a couple minutes, either do cat-cow, do a couple sun salutations, if you don't have a lot of time to do a full class. Just sit, close your eyes and focus on your breath. Because you don't have to let go of all your thoughts. You don't have to clear your mind. That is okay. It's okay if you can't clear everything out of your mind. You just let those thoughts come into your head, but then let them go. Bring your mind back to your breath. Really focus on your inhale and how it feels filling your body. Really focus on that exhale, letting go. Just take a few minutes to bring your mind back to your breath and your body. So I'm going to end class, and so another class doesn't start after this. If you want to take some extra time, you can go ahead and turn the class off. Happy Friday, guys. From my heart to yours, peace, love, and kindness. Have a wonderful weekend.